Hello, everyone. Uh, I am Alexis Davis. I'm the social media manager here at RSDSA. I'm joined by Jim Roach, Executive Vice President and Director of RSDSA, and Brad Yates. Brad is known internationally for his creative and often humorous use of emotional freedom techniques, also known as EFT. Brad is the author of the best-selling children's book, The Wizard's Wish, the co-author of the bestseller Freedom at Your Fingertips, and a featured expert in the film The Tapping Solution. He has been a presenter at a number of events, including Jack Canfield's Breakthrough to Success, has done teleseminars with the secret stars Bob Doyle and Dr. Joe Vitale, and has been heard internationally on a number of internet radio talk shows. Brad also has well over 900 videos on YouTube that have been viewed over 31 million times. Now, please remember that while the information shared here tonight is helpful, we always want to make sure that you are consulting with your physician for any personalized medical advice. And now, before we begin and we give the floor over to Brad, I do want to remind everyone that we released the third edition of our new mini newsletter in rare form earlier this week. So be sure to check out our Facebook page and the RSDSA website for a link to that. And of course, any other questions that you have, you can always put into the comments here or send us a message over here on our Facebook page. But Jim, do you have any announcements or anything you want to discuss before we give Brad the floor?
No, I just wanted to welcome everyone and just say this will be our last presentation until the new year. We have some exciting presentations in 2021, but I also want to encourage people to, if there's a topic you would like us to focus on, please email us at info at rsds.org. And also, as we approach the end of our fiscal year, if you can make a gift to us, we'd love to consider it. We have a little page in rare form, but and I understand if you can, and I love it. If you can't, that's fine. And basically, we're real excited to have Brad tonight. He is a very busy man, and he made time for us. And Brad, take her away.
All right. Thank you so much, Jim and Alexis, and my friend Veronique, who introduced me to you. I am honored and grateful for this opportunity to share this work with everyone. And, so my really quick disclaimer is that I'm not a doctor, but I did play one on TV. And that video, the background was supposed to go. Timing is everything. You love it when the system works. There we go. Yes, I did play a doctor on Days of Our Lives, so you're in very capable hands if your medical issue is only a TV fictional thing. However, I am confident that this tapping work, EFT, emotional freedom technique, can be of great benefit in a number of ways. So, first of all, if you're not familiar with EFT or tapping, we call it tapping because it is quite simply a process of tapping with our fingertips on key places around our face and our torso primarily. And if you are new to this work, I totally understand if there's some thought of, wow, that looks really weird. And there's a very good reason why we do it. So it was originally based on acupuncture. And I wouldn't be surprised if a number of you have at least experimented with acupuncture. So for thousands of years in Chinese medicine, they have said there's this flow of energy through the body along pathways that are called meridians. And when this energy is flowing naturally, we experience our natural state of health and well-being, physically and emotionally. And when this energy gets stuck, then we don't feel so good. So in traditional acupuncture, the doctor would stick needles in key points to help stimulate that healthy flow of energy. And we're just going to be tapping with our fingertips to get that energy flowing. And it was developed by a psychologist named Dr. Roger Callahan. Around 1980 or so, he was working with a woman with a lifelong water phobia. And on the side, he had been experimenting and learning different things and was taking a course on acupressure. And one day he was working with this client who was about 40 years old and had lifelong water phobia. She'd been working with Dr. Callahan for about a year and a half, maybe. And the best he could do using his traditional techniques was have her near the swimming pool, but looking away from it. And even that was very difficult for her. So one day, after learning some about acupressure, he said, well, tell me, what is the physical symptom that you experience around this water fear? And she said, well, I get a knot in my stomach. And he said, okay, so the meridian point for the stomach meridian is right under the eye. Let's just tap here for a moment. And after a moment, she said, it's gone. And he said, what's gone? And she said, the fear, and starts running towards the swimming pool. And he's running after, saying, wait, stop. And she said, no, it's okay. I know that I don't know how to swim. But she got down near the water and started splashing water and felt no negative reaction anymore. And Dr. Callahan thought, wow, that's very interesting, and started experimenting with different clients and found that with different emotional issues, he needed to tap different points in different sequences. And within a year, he put himself out of business because all of his clients who had been coming to him on a weekly basis were feeling great. So he started teaching this process that he called the Callahan Technique, or thought field therapy, TFT. And one of his first students was a gentleman named Gary Craig, who had studied as an engineer at Stanford. And thinking like an engineer, he thought, well, let's see if we can simplify this method. And instead of using these different algorithms of different points, he just said, well, let's tap through all of these points. There's 8 points that we tap through. And by just using that simple process of going top to bottom through all the points, he was getting the same great results, and called this new version emotional freedom techniques, or EFT. And again, a lot of us just call it tapping now. We also have modern research showing the efficacy of tapping, particularly in terms of stress relief. So when we get into a stressful situation and go into fight or flight, one of the things that happens in our body is we release the hormone cortisol. And in a study that was done, it was a double-blind study, gold standard research, and the group that did the tapping, their cortisol levels dropped by an average of 24%, some as much as 50%. And this was so staggering that the lab technicians actually threw out the first batch of results, saying, that can't have happened. It can't have been that effective. Recalibrated the machines, ran it again, got the same results. A friend of mine, Dr. Peter Stapleton in Australia, has replicated that study and seen even better results. And she's also done the first fMRI studies. So looking at the brain scans and seeing the brain activity, and then how that shifts and how different parts of the brain, the activity normalizes after doing the tapping. So what we see there is that it's primarily what we can measure is its effect for stress relief. And when we consider that most, if not all, of the issues that we face are either caused by or worsened by stress, then we can see why a tool that reduces stress so effectively can be so beneficial. Now, there have been a lot of studies done showing the physical benefits. I have worked with a number of people on physical pain. I had a booth at a health fair one year, and a couple came over and were talking to me, and this gentleman was saying that he was experiencing a lot of back pain, and rated it on a scale of 0 to 10 at about an 8 or so. And we did a little bit of tapping for a moment, and they said thanks, and they left, and came back about an hour or two later. And he said, okay, so there's a dance floor over another part of the park, and we've been over there, and I've been dancing, and what the heck did you do? Because the tapping had lowered his physical pain so dramatically. We've seen it with a number of different physical issues. And again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to make any particular claims about what the tapping can do for the physical symptoms of what you're going through. That's possible. What I want to talk about mostly is the emotional aspects, because for all of the physical pain, there's also, I know, a lot of emotional pain, particularly in terms of when you are experiencing a physical issue that is not readily apparent to other people. And I had mentioned earlier to Jim and Alexis about one of the videos that I have on YouTube is called Invisible Disabilities. My wife experienced this. My wife had juvenile rheumatoid arthritis and spent a lot of her childhood in a wheelchair because she had to take pressure off of her knees, but wasn't incapable of walking. And so at different times, she would get up from the wheelchair to move over to a chair, and got a lot of really nasty comments from people calling her a faker. And because kids can be cruel and adults can be cruel, especially if they don't understand. So understanding that with what you're going through, there is a lot of emotional pain that goes with that. There are all kinds of different things that can come up, the hopelessness, the despair. And so the physical discomfort is painful enough, but then to compound that with all of the emotional discomfort can make it worse. So while I certainly hope that as we go through this process, you will experience some, thank you, Alexis. Uh, that link just showed up to that particular video. While I hope that as we go through this, you will experience some lessening of any physical discomfort you might be experiencing right now. My main focus will be on those emotional things. And one of the things that I want to share is one of the metaphors I use for this work is I call it the Michelangelo process, because Michelangelo's David is my favorite piece of art, and I have it all over my office. Michelangelo said that the masterpieces were already there inside the marble, and all he had to do was chip away what didn't belong to reveal that masterpiece inside. And so my work is all about helping folks see the masterpiece that's inside, buried under whatever it might be, including physical ailments, and allowing, hoping to help you get more in touch with that magnificent self inside, and allowing yourself to experience more joy and more hope and more of what life can offer, even with the challenges that you may be facing. Whether you're, I was told that many of the folks tonight on the call might also be caregivers, and all of the challenges that go with that. And I have a number of videos for caregivers as well, because you're a special breed of people. And so hoping to break through some of that stuff that comes up, and some of the beliefs and the messages and the challenges that limit your experience of a great life more than may be necessary. So let me see, there was a question that came up, and what I have used tapping with children. I personally have not done tapping with physical pain, but I do know that a lot of people have found it very beneficial in managing their pain. And I assume, but again, I don't have that information on me in terms of children using it for pain. Children respond to tapping very well. Because most of the issues we face started in childhood, I wrote a children's book called The Wizard's Wish, and you can find that on my website. So great. So Doug, what this has to do with this is allowing ourselves to use this process of stress relief to help manage the challenges that come up. So let me describe for you what the process is. So we start by looking at whatever might be bothering us in the moment. And it might be physical pain, like I might say, this burning sensation in my arm. Or it might be the emotional aspect of, even though I'm so frustrated with this issue, or it may be that somebody has been insensitive. Someone has said, oh, you're a faker, or something like that, and acknowledging the pain that comes up from that. So we would rate the discomfort, physical or emotional, on a scale of 0 to 10. And then we would say, okay, let's say it's this pain that I'm feeling, whether it's emotional or physical, and I may rate it at an 8, and noticing where it is. If it's a physical pain, obviously I know where that is. If it's an emotional pain, we might look at it and say, okay, I feel hurt by that comment someone made. Where do I feel that? It may be where you tend to experience your chronic pain. It may be someplace else. It may be heaviness in your heart, or a tension somewhere in your body. So allowing yourself to be aware of what you're experiencing. And what we're going to do is take the fingertips of your index and middle finger of your dominant hand. The meridians run up and down both sides of the body. And so you can tap with either hand on either side of the body. And I'll address in a moment what to do if you are feeling physically limited from that. But if you are able, and I invite you to go ahead and do this right now, tapping with your fingertips on the edge of your opposite hand. And we would say, even though I have this pain, and go ahead and repeat after me, I choose to love and accept myself. Even though I feel this pain, I choose to love and honor myself. Even though I feel this pain, I choose to love and honor and accept myself. Then we would tap right here at the beginning of your eyebrow. It's just a gentle tap, and generally we'll tap 5 to 10 times, and depending on the phrase that we're saying, we might be tapping a little bit longer, and that's okay. It's not an exact number. We'd say, this pain. Then we go to the corner of your eye, this pain. Right here under the middle of your eye, this pain. Right under your nose, just above your upper lip, all this pain. Right under your lower lip, just above your chin, this pain. And right here where your collarbones just about come together, there's that little bit of a U shape at the base of your throat. And you can use all of your fingertips or just make a fist and cover that whole area and say, this pain. Right below your armpit, about 4 inches down. That's right about bra strap level. And I'm sure even the guys can figure out where that is. This pain. And finally, the top of your head. So with your fingertips, tapping around the crown of your head, this pain. Take a deep breath. And let it go. And then you would check in again with that pain, whether it's physical or emotional, and rate it again and say, okay, if it was at an 8, where does it feel now? And we may find that it goes from an 8 to 0 like that. It doesn't usually happen like that, but it does sometimes happen like that, and that's great if it does. Sometimes it may just go from an 8 down to a 7.75. And as you know, if you've been experiencing discomfort for some time, even a little bit of relief is better than none. So we want to use this to keep bringing that down as much as we can. And what often happens when we're tapping is it's like peeling the layers of the onion. So as we're tapping on this pain, we may get some insights. We may have some ideas about, oh, I know what's causing me this pain, especially when it's around emotional issues. But even when we're tapping on physical pain, as we're tapping through, we might get clarity about, oh, and you know what makes it even worse is I'm afraid about how this is going to affect me. I'm afraid that this is going to limit my ability to do something that I'm looking forward to. And so there are all kinds of emotional things that might be coming up that we weren't fully aware of because the physical pain was so prominent, and we weren't even aware of how these emotional things that might have been making it even worse, but we couldn't see them because the physical pain was so front and center. So as we allow ourselves to clear those levels and find those other things going on, we can start to create some more opening there and release some of those uncomfortable feelings and ideas that might be making it worse, so that even if we don't find that we're getting as much relief or any relief from the physical symptom, we're still going to experience a greater sense of peace because we're letting go of some of the emotional stuff that's compounding the pain. I'm going to check real quick for any questions. Has worked for physical pain. So, and the reason, again, I'm not a doctor, and there are a lot of theories right now about how tapping works. You know, we see it working on the Meridian system. We see it working on lowering cortisol. There are theories about the polyvagal system and how it affects the vagus nerve. So we are still looking at what exactly is occurring while we're doing the tapping. One of the ideas about why it sometimes is beneficial with physical pain is that stress so often exacerbates whatever the physical symptoms might be. So that as we lower that stress, we can that can lower the impact of what the physical things are that are going on. Now, depending on the physical pain you're experiencing, you may say, I can't tap right now, or I can't tap certain points because I can't reach that, or whatever it might be. So don't worry about tapping all of the points. Sometimes I'll just tap right here on the collarbone point. And if you aren't able to tap, if that's too uncomfortable, you can simply hold your fingers on the point. You might gently rub the point, or just hold your fingers there while breathing. And you can even do this without saying any words. If you're not sure what to say, and you don't want to say the pain, but you're aware of it being there, you can just allow yourself to gently be tapping or rubbing these points, and that will help to calm down the system. Again, sometimes the effects will be more profound, and sometimes they'll be very subtle. I'm confident that it is always helping. It is always reducing the discomfort at some level, but sometimes it's not readily apparent. And sometimes it's just nice knowing that we have something that we can do so that we can feel proactive about helping ourselves relax. And just that relaxation can be such a key component to feeling better. So again, one of the things that we can use tapping for the most is those fears that come up or the upsets that come up. Let me quickly go through some of the things and see what. Yeah, so using people often ask, is it a distraction? And I've had people say, oh, well, you distracted me from what was bothering me. And I'll say, how am I distracting you from it when I keep talking about it on every point? And as I was demonstrating the process, you might be saying, I don't want to say the pain. I don't want to keep saying the pain because I don't want to focus on what the problem is. And I want to be distracted. And what we resist persists. So this is, I would definitely say in general, as much as possible, we don't want to dwell on what's bothering us. But when we have the opportunity to do some cleanup of that, then that's beneficial. When I first introduce EFT to folks, a lot of them will say, well, you're talking about the problem, you're talking about the pain, the stress, whatever that might be, and we shouldn't look at that. We always want to focus on the positive. And one of the analogies I like to use, and actually while I'm telling you this, I'm going to encourage you, if you can, to either be tapping or rubbing points, either the collarbone or tapping through different points, because while we have this time together, go ahead and take this opportunity to be using this process to lower your cortisol levels, to reduce whatever discomfort might be there. Even when we're not doing a formal round, just allowing yourself to use this process. So one of the analogies I like to use is, if you imagine that you've got a beautiful living room with a beautiful carpet, and you also have a beautiful dog who one day leaves you a gift that is not so beautiful on your carpet, we don't want to be standing there and saying, I'm just going to focus on where my living room is clean. Because one, we're kidding ourselves, because part of us is very much focused on the poop that's there. And two, if we try to only look over here, we're going to step in it and spread it around. So we want to sit down and address it and say, okay, there's the poop. I want to clean it up. And then as we clean that up, then we don't have to focus on it. So for the time that we are doing this cleanup work on whatever it is, whether it's the physical pain or whatever emotional pain that might be there, we want to be looking at that so that we bring that up in our energy system and we can actually focus on what we're clearing as we're doing the tapping process. And as we go through, we let that go more and more. So I hope that that is clear. So what I'd like you to do at this moment is go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and hold it. And let it go. And allow yourself to be aware of what you're feeling right now. Just following your breath through your body. Notice what you're feeling physically, and notice what you're feeling emotionally. And go ahead and rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 10. In this case, I'm going to say let 10 be magnificent. Your true self, your true magnificent self, and allow yourself to be aware of, on a scale of 0 to 10, how much you're allowing yourself to experience the true magnificence of who you are. And don't judge yourself harshly if the number is way down. Just allow yourself to be aware of what's there. Notice what you're feeling physically, what you're feeling emotionally. Notice what thoughts, beliefs, and memories might come up as to why you couldn't or shouldn't be at a higher number. Again, allow yourself to do this with as little judgment as possible. Just allowing yourself to be curious about what might be there. Take another deep breath. Open your eyes. And so what I demonstrated earlier is the basic version of EFT, where we look at what the thing is that's bothering us, this pain or whatever it is, and we just repeat the same thing on each of the points. I like to do it a little more creatively, and I like to explore what might be going on behind the discomfort. So that's what we're going to do here. Some of what I say might really resonate, and you might say, oh, I hadn't even thought about that, but yeah, that's so true. Some of what I might say might not resonate at all, but as long as you're tapping, you're still going to be getting the calming benefits of this process. And if I say something that you really don't want to say, that's okay. Don't feel free to not say it, but also don't be afraid of saying what I say, because you're not going to take it on. Again, it's a cleaning process. So if you were cleaning up the dog poop from your carpet, it's not a matter of, well, if my carpet was clean and I'm cleaning if I'm vacuuming the rug or whatever, and I'm saying dog poop, I'm not going to create dog poop on the carpet. And if whatever it is that I'm cleaning up, but I'm saying something else, like I'm saying spilled coffee, It's not like now I'm going to create spilled coffee on top of the dog poop or whatever is already there, because we're doing it, because we're cleaning. As we're doing the cleaning process, we're going to be cleaning up whatever is there, regardless of what we say. So I hope that makes sense. So if you're willing, even though I have this discomfort, I choose to love and accept myself. Even though I may be experiencing some discomfort, I choose to love and honor myself. Even though I may be experiencing some discomfort, it might be physical, it might be emotional, it may very well be both. And even though I'm experiencing this discomfort, I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And maybe anyone else involved in this. Because I choose to be that free. All this discomfort. All this discomfort. And all this fear that I feel about it. Whatever pain I might feel, it may also bring up a lot of fear. I may be afraid about how long it's going to last. I may be afraid of what it's going to stop me from doing. I may be afraid about how other people are going to respond. I may be afraid that I will never get better, that I'll never experience greater freedom. All these fears. And I'm allowing myself to move through this fear, at least as much as possible. Because I've got enough to deal with. And I'm allowing myself some more emotional freedom. There may be a number of different feelings coming up. I may feel a lot of sadness. I may feel a lot of anger and resentment. I may feel a lot of doubt. I may feel embarrassed at times. I may even feel some guilt or shame about my condition. And I choose to process those feelings. Because I deserve to feel better. I deserve to feel joy. And that can be really challenging at times. And I'm giving myself permission to feel as much of that as I can. Allowing myself to process these feelings. Allowing myself to look at why I might feel them. why I feel a need to feel this pain. Because some of it may be based on old misunderstandings. Like when people don't understand what I'm going through. And on top of the physical pain I might have, I may now feel emotional pain because I need them to understand. And so part of me says, I have to feel this discomfort until they understand. And for whatever reason, they may not be able to understand. And I don't want to be stuck being upset until they do. I'm clearing this need for them to understand. And there's nothing wrong with me wanting them to understand. I'm just clearing the need or the belief that I need them to do so, because that causes me additional pain. I'm clearing anything that causes additional pain. Whatever thoughts or beliefs that I might have that are causing additional emotional pain, I'm allowing myself to move through those. I may feel a lot of pain about what other people are thinking, whether they're upset with me, or about how I might cause them to feel. I may be worried about the pressure my illness puts on them. And that's very kind and noble of me. And it just adds to my discomfort. And I'm doing the best I can. And I choose to love and appreciate all those parts of me that are trying so hard to do things right. Even when it might cause me more discomfort. And I'm giving myself permission to let some of that stuff go. So that I can feel more presence. So that I can feel more hope. So that I can feel more joy. Part of me might say that's not possible. And I love and appreciate that part of me. That's just trying to protect me. All this fear of being hopeful. All this fear that that will lead to more disappointment. All this fear that that will lead to more pain. I'm clearing the need to feel disappointed. And some people will tell me I should feel disappointed. But I'm not going to let anybody should on me. I don't need to feel any extra disappointment. I don't need to feel any extra discomfort. I'm giving myself permission to let go of what bothers me as much as possible so that I can feel as good as possible. Because I deserve that. And I'm clearing any doubts about that. Part of me might say that my condition means that I don't deserve good things. And that's a misunderstanding. I am a magnificent child of the universe, worthy and deserving of the best this world has to offer. And my challenges don't prove otherwise. And I'm allowing myself to feel as much peace as possible. I'm allowing myself to feel as much relief as possible. I'm allowing myself to feel as much joy as possible. In body, mind, and spirit. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes and allow yourself to be aware of whatever discomfort you were focusing on before, and just see how that might have shifted. Hopefully you've gotten some relief. Again, you may just have some insights that may have come up as to what may be behind some of the things that cause upset. And you can continue tapping on those specific things and keep allowing yourself to clear away the levels. And some of these may go way back, and to different things that you heard or experienced early in life, and allowing yourself to look at where it may have been a misunderstanding, yours or someone else's, and allow yourself to let that go to provide even more space for more relief. I'm going to take a quick look at the comments and see what thoughts are coming up from folks. And yeah, go ahead and feel free to keep tapping here. And if you have any questions that you want to put in the comments, please, by all means. And Alexis and Jim, if you guys have any thoughts or questions, perfect timing.
Definitely. I feel very calm. I did see, I know you were going asking a few questions, or excuse me, answering a few questions earlier, but I did see that there was a question about how someone could work with you, or just, how they could work with someone who, is experienced with tapping in general across the country.
Yeah. So I do work with folks in a number of ways. As I said, I've got over 900 videos on YouTube, many of which are around physical ailments or the emotions that might come along with that. And I hope that folks will go through that catalog and see what might resonate with you, and where that might give you some relief. I do group sessions and private sessions. And for a lot of things, I also have friends who work more specifically with physical ailments. And so I have people that I often refer folks to who have more experience working with certain physical issues.
Fabulous. I just had a loving thought all the time. I'm lovable and capable when I was tapping. It was just wonderful, Brad. You are truly a master. I appreciate you giving your time to us tonight. And thank you, Bernie, for turning us on to Brad. It's been wonderful.
Well, I'm very grateful for this opportunity because I love what I do. I feel very called to do what I do, and so and wherever possible. And so for your audience to introduce this, and I know it may not feel like it resonates with everyone, but I know that some of you are going to find, wow, this is a great thing to add to my toolbox. And even, even if it's just something to calm yourself down at different points, even if you're not aware of something in particular, just sitting there and doing this tapping can help you calm down. And as we calm ourselves down, I know that with this issue, different things can trigger a flare up and that pain. And so when we allow stress to build up, we come much closer to that trigger point. And as we allow ourselves to have ways of calming ourselves down, we can avoid that much more often. And for me, this is energy hygiene. It's, we have physical hygiene like brushing our teeth and taking showers. And most of us do that on a daily basis, whether we need it or not. It's just maintenance. So most of us don't wait until there's green things growing between our teeth to say, oh, right, I haven't brushed my teeth in a few days, I should do that. Or waiting until people are holding their nose around us and saying, oh, that's right, I haven't taken a shower in a week, maybe I should do that. But most of us don't have a way of dealing with stress in that way. And so to me, I encourage people to tap on a daily basis. If you want to tap along with a video, or just tap on your own or whatever comes up, and you can just tap saying prayers or affirmations. I'm lovable and I'm capable. That's an awesome one to do, because what happens with affirmations are great, but what often happens when we say an affirmation is the contrary beliefs come up, particularly when we feel that our physical issue makes us incapable. And so I may say, I'm lovable and I'm capable. And then another part of me say, yeah, right. You haven't been able to work in a while. You haven't been this. You're a drag on your family and you're this. But when we're tapping, all of those thoughts that might come up and cause us emotional distress are being dealt with. And we start to just calm down and go, yeah, I hear you. And it's still true that I'm lovable and I'm capable. I may not be as capable as I choose to be today, or as capable as I can be on other days, but I'm still capable. And if nothing else, I'm capable of feeling love for myself and sending love to others. And sometimes that's enough.
Brad, when I was visiting your website earlier today, I saw that wonderful video that you did years ago on starting your morning with tapping. Would you mention that?
Yeah. So the first video that I did, I got into this. I started as an actor, and I had traveled the world doing theater. But when I had gone to Hollywood to be a movie star, and I met a woman, fell in love, and got married, and we had a child coming, I realized, I might need a backup job. So I trained as hypnotherapist. I think someone asked about my training. I went through a year-long training in hypnotherapy that included some other things like NLP, and started doing that on the side. And then after a couple of years, when our second child was on the way, I realized that as much as I loved acting, that personal development work was really my calling. And through some other hypnotherapists, I found out about EFT, and I took the training from Gary Craig, and then did further training in that process. And then YouTube came along. And I thought, hey, wouldn't it be great if there was a video, a tapping video people could use to start their day? And I'll call it Tap of the Morning. And that was all I intended. I was like, I'll do this one video and that's it. And it wasn't until 6 months later that I decided, hey, I should have a video to end the day, and I'll call it Tap of the Evening. And then more ideas came. about physical issues and emotional issues, and clearing things that are bothering us, and also clearing what might stop us from going for what we want, because tapping can be used also in terms of, hey, I want to have more success, and we can use the tapping to clear the stuff that might be coming up as to why we couldn't or shouldn't, and our fears and our doubts. So as I said, there's well over 900 of them, and I hope that folks will find many of them are beneficial in allowing yourself to experience more of your own magnificence, and then share that with the world, even as you handle whatever challenges might come up.
Alexis, any other questions?
We did have one more question that came through. Brad, do you offer training for those who want to get certified in EFT?
Yeah, I actually don't, because there are other people who are much better at that than I. I don't teach EFT. I use EFT to teach. But I do have colleagues there. There's a group called EFT International. So that's EFTinternational.org. Those are some people who have some great trainings. The Association for Comprehensive Energy Psychology, ASEP, and their website is energypsych.org. And put that. Oh, great, thank you. So energypsych.org, and they have some great trains. And there are a lot of other people out there. Of a number of friends. So if people are interested in finding more names, I'd be happy to share them. But those are the two that I usually refer to folks to first.
Awesome. I just put those, or at least the first link into the chat. So
Awesome. Thanks, Alexis.
So I think this is it. Doesn't seem like there are any other questions. I did a last call to see if there was anyone else. But of course, you all know where to find Brad. I definitely put a link to his website, tapwithbrad.com, into the comments, and of course, his YouTube channel. So thank you, of course, Brad, for joining us this evening.
Oh, my pleasure.
And as always, for everyone watching live, we will have this video pinned to the top of our Facebook timeline for easy access. And we will also add it to our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions for us, if you need a support group, if you're looking for a new physician, if you have questions about our end of year appeal, you're looking to donate, or you want to tell your story on the RSDSA blog, please send us an email at info@rsds.org. Or of course, you can send us a message on any of our social media platforms. Thank you again, and everyone have a great evening.
Thanks.
Thank you, Alexis.